TNA officials met with Spike TV officials in New York about a potential deal to replace WWE programming when its contract expires in the fall. Jarrett told several people that he was optimistic with the reception he received at the meeting and excited about the potential for a deal. Spike TV spokesman downplayed the meeting, telling The Torch, Spike TV executives are always meeting with various entertainment and sports-related organizations. We met with TNA, but that does not translate into a deal. Sources say that any potential deal is in the preliminary stages of being considered, but is a definite possibility that Spike officials will look further into TNA as a content provider.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Nah, the company's going to go under. They're going to lose their TV deal.
They said we would never get on Spike. That was more JR than Jeff, but I got it.
JR probably did that promo too. The goal of the Jarretts from the outside of TNA was to end up head-to-head on Monday nights with Raw on a national network.
That always works.
Why?
Because everyone lives in the 90s and no one can do their own thing.
Why are people obsessed with this idea? Why?
Let's split the audience.
Because, it was a cosmic fluke that the Monday Night Wars worked.
Yeah.
Because you know what happens 99 times out of 100 when two shows that have similar audiences go head-to-head, Liam?
They both lose viewers.
They both lose viewers. They split the audience. Whereas you got, the very rare lightning striking instance of two shows that went to head and forced innovation out of both of them in a way that grew the audience.
If you want to be the competition, just be the competition. You don't need to do it on the same day.
And the thing is, if you don't go head-to-head, that means WWE fans can make a choice. They can just watch you. They don't have to not watch Raw. Because it's much harder to get a WWE fan to watch TNA if they also have to stop watching Raw in order to do it. Whereas, if you're on another day, perhaps, said WWE fan can watch both Raw and TNA. Then you end up with more viewers. Then the TV company gives you more money.
Then you're alive.
Then you become a more viable, real company.
And then you stay on Spike forever because you don't break their rules about bringing people in to book it. And then CC them in emails.
Even when you look, I'm sure people might argue, it's but the most watched episode of TNA was head-to-head.
I'd say that was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, what if you put that episode on Thursday? Maybe they would have done even bigger numbers.
I feel bad for any of the people that were forced to see that show.
Well, the first one wasn't bad. Everyone after was terrible. The Jan 4 show had at least some energy to it, but the entire Monday Night run was awful, and you can hear all about it. TNA.com.
I just winked at the non-existent camera.
They heard it. They heard that eyelash move. Eyelash?
Good.
I guess eyelid would make more noise than an eyelash.
I don't think any of them made noise, per se.
Unless a single solitary eyelash fell out of your eye in that very moment and right onto the microphone, into one of the gaps in the microphone, right to the core of the microphone, and they heard that.
Then my microphone lights on fire.
Multiple TNA sources say the company is on the verge of announcing a new TV deal in the United States. By on the verge, they mean in the next, 6 months.
Yeah.
The announcement could come within the next week or 2 or 6 months, but they are bound by a confidentiality agreement. Once again, WGN is in discussions, Spike is in discussions, and obviously FSN is also in discussions. There's, WGN is probably because Jarrett goes to FSN and says, hey guys, we've been doing okay. How would you feel about, instead of us paying you, we could get money from you? And FSN were like, that's an interesting idea.
It's an interesting proposition, Jeff.
But how about you continue to pay us? Because we like the money.
Jeff's like, but we would like money, and if we have money, we can continue to run shows.
But FSN were like, yeah, it's a good argument. But also, what if you continue to give us money? So we both got a show that does ratings and money.
The problem there is that if we keep giving you money, we will eventually run out of money.
Right.
And then we won't have a show, which means you won't have a show.
But have you considered? Your show's ratings aren't actually that good.
Hey, fuck you! And that's how the meeting went.
So it's mostly the money they're after, not the ratings.
Yeah.
I think that is exactly how that meeting went.
Yeah, I think we perfectly reenacted it. And scene.
So they were at an impasse where TNA wanted money to put the show on the air.
But they weren't at an impact.
Oh.
Aha.
FSN were like, no, we like the money you get us. So basically at that stage, it became very clear that no matter what, FSN is done. So come May, come when that deal is up, they're going their separate ways. And then there are two in the conversation. WGN, which were also in the conversation, if you remember back when they went off on FSN in the first place. And Spike TV, who have also just dropped WWE programming.
Garrett, who do you think's going to win?
I think it's going to be another network. I think Nash is going to be like, guys, I've been watching BT. and that's where we're going. That's where we'll be hip and cool.
We're going to HBO.
Yeah, we're going to air after The Sopranos.
That'd be a great spot, to be honest.
Who would be the TNA Tony Soprano?
Dusty, right?
Yeah, it would be Dusty, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I would love Dusty doing, like, therapy skits.
Talking through all his trauma from wrestling.
Yeah.
There is probably, like, a version of the Jarrett character that's good as, like, a...
Well, Jarrett's great when he just gets to kind of goof off. So if he's not the champion and he's doing those segments, I think like that'd be probably pretty great.
Yeah, when he has the falling out with Jerry, he just goes to therapy on the show.
Yeah. Do you think with this like upcoming change in 6 months, they're like, we need to change what the product that we're presenting is? Do you think like they're like, all hands on deck, let's bring in guys, let's revitalize this division. Let's, you know, like, do you think there's a call to arms sense?
It's funny you asked that because this is like the fourth time that's the case, isn't it?
Yeah. It's what they do best, honestly, at the moment.
Where, like, there was a little rallying cry when they got on TV at first that kind of fell off. Then there was the second rallying cry when they got on pay-per-view at first, the 3-hour monthly pay-per-views. And that lasted a little while longer, and I think produced some better shows than the first one did. But I think, once again, it's fallen off. And now it's like, again, it's like we've fallen into our kind of general TNA malaise with some high points. I think more high points than there were in March. And I think the fact that March was a bad month of TV leading to a terrible pay-per-view that didn't do great numbers is ultimately the thing that has people like being like, maybe someone else. And I do think like the financial peril the company is in at the moment, like where it's still in the state where everyone thinks the company might go out of business at any given moment, has a lot of people being like, we have to try something different. We can't like we can't afford patience, which
is ironic considering they never did shut down.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you just told them, it's like, actually guys, it's gonna work out.
Yeah, take your time.
Like, against all odds, pardon the pay-per-view pun, you are going to end up with a pretty good TV deal with Spike TV that's actually going to go real well.
And you're going to be there for a long time until you fuck it up.
Yeah. In many different ways over the course of 8 years.
But like, I guess we'll get to that whenever we get to it. That irritates me to this day. Like, just don't do it and you're fine.
Yep.
Like, there's a chance you're still on the network in 2023.
There is that alternate reality where they didn't get on the bad side of Spike. They're still on Spike. And, like, Paramount Network isn't what it used to be. But it also has the most popular show on cable right now.
And on streaming with Paramount Plus.
Yeah, like Yellowstone is huge.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest show on cable. And TNA could have coasted off that in the year of our Lord 2023.
James Storm getting a big push.
I know there was always talk that, like, the Dixie thing wasn't actually the death knell.
That sure didn't help.
But I think there was, like, an offer on the table. But it was obviously for less than they were getting before. So Dixie was like, no, we're going to shop it around. And then by the time they came back to Spike and all the Russo stuff had gone down, they were like, nah.
One of the worst calls they ever made.
Because at least, like, even if it's less money from Spike, Spike still gives you the platform and enough money to both rebuild and not go out of business, and not go into like the spiral that the company went in from like 2015 through the Anthem purchase.
Also, it's Spike. It's a decent fucking network.
Yeah, it's a real cable network that has like a decent audience where at least, you know, 900,000 people minimum will watch your show every week, at least back in 2014. It's still even in 2014, like the Dixie episode where she got powerbombed through a table still did, I think, about 1.4 million viewers.
Yeah, it still had moments where like it did like blow back up to those levels, and it still like would have been in the wrestling zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And plus, like, you know, when that happens, they stick around for a couple more years. That's when New Japan starts to blow up. New Japan at that point hasn't, like, really, like, attached itself to ROH. Could have attached itself to TNA.
They could have mended fences a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Especially given if TNA still had the Spike TV audience, that's a very strong selling point.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you get, like, the Bullet Club guys that started going over to America, ROH. You get Okada and Nakamura during, like, when they're trying to get over. All of that's happening on Spike TV, TNA instead.
Yeah, what if the Bullet Club made national TV in 2015 instead of with AEW basically in 2019?
Yeah.
The alternate histories.
I tell you, that is my number one superpower that I would want.
Seeing all of the branching paths that could have happened.
Yeah.
Seeing all of the different Finn Balor universes.
Oh, again, the most influential wrestler of the last 20 years.